Canto 18. That blessed mirror continued to rejoice in his own thoughts, and I was tasting mine, tempering the bitter with the sweet, when that lady, who was leading me to God, said, "Change your thoughts, consider that I dwell with him who lifts the weight of every wrong." At the loving sound of my comfort's voice I turned, and the great love I saw then in her holy eyes I have to leave untold. Not just because I cannot trust my speech, but because memory cannot retrace its path that far unless another guide it. This much only of that moment can I tell again, that, when I fixed my gaze on her, my affections were released from any other longing, as long as the eternal beauty, shining its light on Beatrice, made me content with its reflected glow in her fair eyes. Conquering me with her radiant smile, she said, "Turn now and listen. Not in my eyes alone is paradise. As on occasion here on earth, affection may be read in someone's face, if it is strong enough to capture all the soul, so in the flaming of that holy radiance to which I turned, I recognized his wish to share some further thoughts with me." And he began, "On this fifth tier of the branches of the tree that draws its sustenance from above, and always is in fruit, and never sheds its leaves, are blessed spirits who below, on earth, before they rose to heaven, were of such renown that any poet's page would be enriched by them. Look therefore at the two arms of the cross, and each one whom I name will, flashing, dart as does swift fire from within a cloud. I saw a streak of light drawn through the cross at Joshua's name as soon as it was spoken, nor could I tell the naming and the deed apart. And at the name of valorous Maccabeus, I saw shoot by another whirling light, and it was joy that whipped that spinning top. My watchful gaze was fastened on Charlemagne and Roland there as well, just as the eye pursues the falcon in its flight. William, Reynard, and then Duke Godfrey next drew my eyes along that cross, and Robert Guiscard also did so. Then, leaving me to mingle with the other lights, the soul who'd spoken last with me displayed his artistry among the singers of that heaven. I turned to my right to learn from Beatrice what I ought to do, whether signaled by some word or gesture, and I saw her eyes so clear, so joyful, that her aspect in its radiance outshone her former glory, even that most recent. And as, from feeling more delight in doing good, a man becomes aware from day to day of his increasing virtue, seeing that miracle adorned with greater brightness, I became aware my wheeling circles through the heavens had grown wider in their arc. And such a change as passes in a moment from the blushing face of a fair-skinned lady, unburdened of the reason for her shame, greeted my eyes once I had turned around, because of the white radiance of the temperate sixth star, which had gathered me into itself. In that torch of Jupiter I watched the sparkling of the love resplendent there make signs before my eyes of our speech. And as birds risen from the river's edge, seeming to celebrate their pleasure in their food, form now a rounded arc and now another shape, so, radiant within their lights, the holy creatures sang as they flew and shaped themselves in figures, now D, now I, now L. At first, singing, they danced to their own tune, and then, taking on one of these shapes, they paused in their movement and were silent. O divine Pegasian, who bestow glory and long life on genius, as, with your help, it gives life to towns and kingdoms, inspire me with your light so that I may set down their shapes as I conceive them in my mind. May your power appear in these few lines. They then displayed themselves in 5 times 7 consonants and vowels, and I saw these letters singly, and in the order they were traced. Diligite justitiam. These letters, placed together, verb and noun, came first. qui iudicatis terram last. Then they came to rest in the fifth word's M, so that this place in Jupiter was shining, as does silver overlaid with gold. And I saw their lights descend and settle on the M's high crest to sing, I think, of that great good which draws them to itself. Then, as when someone strikes a burning log, causing innumerable sparks to fly, sparks from which the foolish form their divinations, just so 1,000 lights and more appeared to rise from there and mount, some more, some less, as the sun that kindles them ordained. When each had settled in its place, I saw an eagle's head and neck take shape out of that overlay of fire. He who fashions there has need of none to guide him but himself. Thus we recognize as his the form that every bird takes for its nest. The other blessed spirits, who seemed at first content to turn themselves into a lily on the M, with gentle motion joined, completing the design. O lovely star, how many and how bright the jewels that showed me that our earthly justice comes from that heaven brilliant with your gems. Therefore I entreat the mind, in which your motion and your power begin, to look down on the source of smoke that dims your radiant beam, so that your wrath come down once more on those who buy and sell within the temple, whose walls were built of miracle and martyrdom. O soldiery of heaven, whom I contemplate, pray for those still on the earth, those led astray by bad example. It was the custom once to go to war with swords. Now wars are fought with holding here and there the bread our loving Father keeps from none. But you who write only to cancel, remember this. Peter and Paul, who died to save the vineyard you lay waste, still live. Well may you say, I have so set my heart on him who chose to live in solitude, and who for a dance was dragged to martyrdom, that I know neither the fisherman nor Paul.